Hello again, and thanks for staying with us. Let's hone in on one of our headline stories now. Cholera has been detected in water samples taken from the Vaal River near Parys in the Free State. The tests were conducted by civil organization groups Save Ngwathe and Afriforum following an outbreak in parts of the country. The death toll currently stands at 22, with the latest being in Parys, where these tests were conducted. Let's get you more information on this now. Bring in Afriforum's Environmental Affairs Manager, Lambert de Klerk, who joins us via our video link this morning. It's lovely to see you, Lambert. Thanks very much indeed for making time. And my understanding is that the first water sample actually tested negative for cholera. What made you go back?
Yes, so basically, Ayanda, what we did is Afriforum has been in court cases with the Ngwathe local municipality for approximately the past 3 years, where there was quite a big problem with the water quality itself, as well as the water quantity that's being delivered to the town, specifically, as well as the informal settlement, a settlement like Tumahole. And maybe to exaggerate or go out a bit on why we did these tests is that, first of all, there were confirmed cases of cholera within the Vredefort Parys area, or the Ngwathe local municipality, but specifically to Parys and the Vredefort area. And what we decided to do is, first of all, to see if there is, because of the history of Parys having problems with water quality, to first of all go test. So we did 4 tests initially, and the tests were conducted on Tuesday. And basically what we tested for firstly was we tested at the water treatment works, meaning the drinking water plant, where it goes out into town. There we didn't pick up any E. coli, as well as we didn't pick any bad bacteria within the water. Then we went to Tumahole, which is in the informal settlement. We unfortunately couldn't take any samples there. The reason being is that there was no water coming out of the taps, meaning the taps are dry within Tumahole, meaning that the people in Tumahole they don't even get water, which is a basic right. We then also went to do a test and conducted a test specifically within town, at a household within town, where we picked up quite a lot of coliforms. Coliforms, in a sense, is basically the total count of bacteria within water, as well as we tested for E. coli, etc., which we did not find. But then the last test we did was specifically, and there's video footage of how it looked yesterday as well, of a manhole overflowing, which is running into the Vaal River system. We took a sample with water specialists as well as the water lab around about 10 meters downstream from where the sewage was running into the river. And what we saw there is that specifically we started picking up vibrio cholera. And this is of grave concern. And just to maybe explain why we say it's grave of concern, is because around about roughly, let's say, 1 kilometer from where the initial waste sample was taken in the river, we picked up is the water plant or the water pump that's extracting water from the river for the Vredefort water treatment plant, meaning that they are extracting downstream from where we picked up the cholera, which means that they, in essence, are basically extracting some of that water that is contaminated with cholera.
Sure. That is incredibly distressing. That video that you made mention of was actually playing as soon as you mentioned it. And I wonder if there's any explaining what we're actually seeing, if you're able to see it from your vantage point as well. Because whatever's coming out of that particular unit looks red. Do we know what that is?
Yes. At this stage, we unfortunately do not know what it is. Our initial thought was that it might be blood. But that's difficult to say, because we'll have to do specific tests again on the water, which is running out now, to make sure that it is blood. Sometimes it might be from an abattoir. Other stages it might be chemicals. What we've seen in the Jukskei River about a month ago that runs in, or the Klein Jukskei that runs into the Hartbeespoort Dam, it also looked very blood in color, but it was already in color, which we initially thought was blood. But when we went to go investigate it further, we actually saw that it was specifically a chemical spill that went into the river, and which changed the color of the river completely. So it is very worrying, and Afriforum is now in the process of aligning laboratoriums to specifically go look at specific strategic points throughout the Vaal River system. We're going to start in Parys area to make sure that, first of all, that's where we picked up the initial trace, and then to make sure that we can actually pinpoint it by a buffer zone, if I can say it like that, to see where the cholera exactly is, where does it stop in the river system, where doesn't it get picked up, and where is it downstream from Parys also get picked up again.
Sure. My understanding, of course, is that Afriforum has been involved in some kind of court action for years, actually, trying to get the government there to do something about the water system.
Yes.
What specifically are you hoping the courts will do? What are you asking them to do in response to this?
Well, in most cases, we first of all bring a mandamus court application, meaning in basic terms, it means that we bring an application for the Department of Water and Sanitation, as well as the Department of Traditional Affairs, COGTA in short, as well as the municipality itself, to actually just do their job. That is basically in essence what a mandamus means, that we basically just telling them, please can you do your job? I mean, it's ludicrous to even say that we have to go to court to ask the municipality and the department to do their job. And that's basically what we do. So we did it specifically on urgent applications within Parys, where we actually were concerned with the drinking water quality within Parys itself. And then, for instance, in the Hammanskraal situation that we have is that we brought applications specifically looking at the Rooiwal wastewater treatment works, which is basically south of the Timber water treatment plant. And it basically, the reason why there's such a big problem is that the water treatment plants itself are struggling to keep head above water because of the quality of the water they are taking in from the river systems at this stage in South Africa.
Sure. There has been some kind of workable plan, I understand, that was presented to the municipality, specifically in Parys. That was in around 2020. So authorities there have known for about 3 years at least that the waters there is actually not suitable for consumption. Obviously not enough has been done, but from what you're able to glean of the situation, has there at least been an improvement since then?
Well, it's difficult to say improvement if you fix something on the one side and it breaks on the other side. But what is quite frustrating was that when we were there in a February month, I think, with specifically a meeting where the municipality had to give feedback to all the different community-based organizations within Parys and the whole of the municipal area of the Parys area. And the technical director could actually not even give any essence to us of what is being done. They basically just said, no, we're putting out tenders the whole time. Now, it's for me a bit frustrating to think that they put up tenders for something as urgent as drinking water quality, which is a basic human right. Our plan that we gave to them in 2020, was specifically set out to look at the whole water system, meaning we looked at the pump stations, we looked at the water treatment plants itself, and we gave an estimation, first of all, rand-based, of what it would cost to bring the water treatment plant back to a working standard. That was in 2020, and when we were there now in February month with the technical director, he basically came and said to us, no, we are giving your plan now to the Department of Water and Sanitation 3 years later, meaning that so much has happened within 3 years, it's most likely doubled in cost of what has to be done to fix the plant.
Sure. And what was that figure, by the way, in 2020?
If I remember correctly, I might be incorrect, but it was around about between 10 and 20 million at first stage. It might even be less if I remember it correctly. I must be honest, I have to go jog my memory on that specifically. But I know it was in essence of fixable. And here's the funny thing. There was a tender, not a tender, apologies, a grant that was given to this municipality to fix this problem. And that money, seemingly, we do not know where it is. We do not know if they have used it. We do not know what has happened to it. And for instance, we were there with that meeting. We went to go look at some of the problems. They are supposed to build a pipeline that runs through from the water treatment plant right through to the informal settlement to make sure that there's enough bulk water that comes to that town or the informal settlement. Here's the sad thing about it. When they looked at, when we went to go look at the pipeline, there were already irregularities in how the pipeline was being built. No procedures were followed. The pipe was basically, in Afrikaans, they say it's a spoeg en plak, and that's basically spit and glue, because they did not follow protocol to line up the pipes correctly, meaning that even if they're going to give water, it's going to be for short duration of time because of the standard of what the work is done on the pipeline they're building.
Given what you've just said, it sounds to me that this may take even longer to fix if we're going to do it right and if it's going to be a sustainable solution. Is there any way of gauging how long that might take if, in an ideal world, we start this immediately, maybe in a matter of weeks?
Yeah, that's very difficult to say, but I believe that where there's a will and there's expertise that is willing to help, and it should not be taken lightly, because we've gotten some of the best experts on water treatment plants in South Africa to assess that water treatment plant specifically. And the estimation, I would say, at least would be most likely to bring it within, I'd say, 3 to 6 months. And that is all depending on if you have all the resources at your disposal to fix the problem, with willingness from the department also to do that.
Sure, absolutely. Lambert de Klerk, thanks for speaking to us. Really appreciate your weighing in on what I think we can all agree is an incredibly disconcerting situation at the very least. Lambert is the Environmental Affairs Manager with Afriforum. And what else do you really say after that? There you have it. Plenty still ahead for you on the AM Report. When we come back, a panel investigating claims that South Africa supplied arms to Russia has been appointed and terms of reference have been set. Details on that story and several others in just a moment.